Have you ever gazed up at the night sky and noticed a string of moving lights gliding silently overhead? While they might look like shooting stars or distant airplanes, there's a good chance you've actually spotted a Starlink satellite, one of thousands orbiting above us. Starlink is SpaceX's ambitious project to bring high-speed internet to every corner of the globe, using a network of satellites that circle the Earth in low orbit. Instead of relying on underground cables or cell towers, Starlink beams internet directly from space. This vast constellation of satellites forms a web around our planet, constantly relaying data back and forth. Each satellite works together, creating a seamless network that covers even the most isolated regions. On the ground, small satellite dishes, affectionately called dishies, are installed at homes, schools, and businesses. These dishes receive signals from the satellites overhead, making it possible to get online in places where traditional internet simply can't reach. Whether you live in a remote mountain cabin, a tiny island village, or you're working on a ship far out at sea, Starlink's goal is to deliver fast, reliable internet where it's needed most, no matter how far from the city you are. By bypassing the need for ground-based infrastructure, Starlink is transforming the way millions of people connect, learn, and work. It's opening up new opportunities for education, business, and communication in places that were once left behind. With over 8,000 satellites already in low Earth orbit, Starlink offers lower latency and faster speeds than older satellite systems, making video calls, streaming, and online gaming possible even in the most remote areas. Today, more than 6 million users across 140 countries rely on Starlink. It's become a lifeline for emergency responders during disasters, a bridge for rural communities, and a vital tool for isolated families to stay connected. But this intricate web of satellites and ground stations is a delicate dance. Each part must work in perfect harmony. If one link fails, the entire system can be disrupted, affecting users around the world. In July 2025, the world witnessed firsthand what happens when this celestial network suddenly goes silent, leaving millions temporarily disconnected and highlighting just how much we now depend on this technology. On July 24, 2025, what began as a perfectly ordinary afternoon quickly spiraled into confusion and chaos. Without warning, Starlink users across the globe suddenly lost their internet connection, leaving millions staring at blank screens and blinking routers. At exactly 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, the digital world seemed to freeze. Video calls abruptly cut out, websites refused to load, and the steady hum of online life came to a standstill. The outage was truly global, with tens of thousands of reports flooding in from every continent, from bustling cities in the U.S. to remote villages in Zimbabwe, all united by a sudden digital silence. For more than 2 hours, millions found themselves unexpectedly cut off from the world, unable to work, study, or even connect with loved ones. The outage revealed just how deeply Starlink had woven itself into the fabric of daily life, powering everything from classrooms and home offices to family movie nights. Businesses shuttered their doors, emergency service operators scrambled to adapt, and families sat together in the eerie quiet of a world suddenly offline. For 150 minutes, the digital heartbeat of society faltered. The silence was unsettling. With little information available and no clear answers, frustration and anxiety grew by the minute, as people realized just how much they relied on a service they barely noticed, until it was gone. Analysts quickly labeled it one of Starlink's most significant outages to date, a real-world stress test for a system that had become the backbone of global connectivity, relied upon by businesses, governments, and families alike. The event exposed the hidden risks of a centralized global network. When a single point of failure occurs, the effects ripple instantly and massively, reminding us how fragile our digital infrastructure can be. The day the internet stood still was more than just an inconvenience. It was a wake-up call, forcing us to confront our deep dependence on invisible signals from space, and to consider how we might prepare for the next time the world goes unexpectedly offline. For many, Starlink isn't just an option, it's the only way to connect. When the network failed, rural families lost access to school, work, and even telehealth appointments. Small businesses relying on online orders ground to a halt. Remote communities faced digital isolation. Social media filled with stories of frustration and anxiety, as people scrambled for answers using limited cell data. In conflict zones like Ukraine, the outage raised fears about military communications, though a separate government system, StarShield, remained online. The blackout revealed how essential Starlink had become for everything from education to national security. For 2.5 hours, the world was reminded how fragile our digital lifelines can be. The experience forced many to rethink their reliance on a single provider and the need for backup plans. The silence from space was a loud lesson in the risks of technological dependency. SpaceX soon revealed the cause behind the sudden outage. A critical software glitch, not a solar flare or a sophisticated cyberattack as some had speculated. The real culprit was hidden deep within the system's code, a flaw that no one had anticipated. Michael Nicolls, Starlink's VP of Engineering, explained that the core network software, the system's air traffic control, had failed unexpectedly. This software is responsible for orchestrating the complex ballet of data between thousands of satellites and ground stations. The satellites themselves, along with the ground stations, remained fully operational, but the software that coordinated their actions went offline, instantly halting the flow of information across the entire network. There was no evidence of hacking, sabotage, or any external interference, just a bug in the code, a self-inflicted wound that brought a global communication system to its knees. This incident highlighted the immense complexity of managing a constellation of thousands of satellites, all relying on software that must be nearly flawless to keep the system running smoothly. In such a vast and interconnected network, even a small error can trigger a chain reaction, cascading into a global failure that affects millions of users in an instant. The incident was a humbling reminder that even the most advanced technology is built on fragile lines of code, lines that can break, sometimes without warning, and with enormous consequences. SpaceX's transparency in addressing the issue helped calm public fears, shifting the conversation away from cyber warfare and toward the technical realities of running such a complex system. The outage underscored the urgent need for robust software engineering, rigorous testing, and constant vigilance in the world of critical infrastructure. It was a wake-up call for the entire industry. In the end, it wasn't sabotage or an outside threat, but a simple software bug that brought the network down. A stark lesson in the power and fragility of the digital world we depend on. Before SpaceX clarified the cause, speculation ran wild. Many feared a cyber attack, given Starlink's global reach and its role in conflicts like Ukraine. The outage's scale and timing fueled theories of hacking or digital sabotage. Some experts compared it to the 2024 CrowdStrike incident, where a software update caused global IT chaos. Others suspected a botched update, not an attack. Ultimately, SpaceX confirmed it was an internal software glitch, not a hostile act. The episode revealed our collective anxiety about the fragility of digital infrastructure. In crisis, communication matters as much as the fix. Elon Musk quickly apologized on X. Sorry for the outage. SpaceX will remedy root cause to ensure it doesn't happen again. Michael Nicolls followed with a detailed apology, explaining the software failure and reaffirming the company's commitment to reliability. Their openness rebuilt trust, showing accountability and a willingness to own the problem. For users with no other internet options, hearing directly from leadership provided reassurance. The public promises set clear expectations. SpaceX would invest in preventing future failures. Words matter, but users will judge by future performance. The apologies were just the first step in restoring confidence. Now, all eyes were on SpaceX to deliver on its promise. A SpaceX pledged to do more than just patch the bug. They promised a deep investigation and systemic improvements. This meant tracing the problem's origins, strengthening software testing, and improving canary testing to catch issues before global rollout. Building redundancy and fail-safes into the core network became a top priority. The goal ensured that if one system fails, another can take over instantly. While no system is perfect, designing for graceful failure is key. The outage became a catalyst for rapid improvement, a hallmark of SpaceX's philosophy. By learning from failure, SpaceX aims to make Starlink more resilient than ever. The ultimate promise: users should never have to worry about losing their connection to the sky again. Despite the July 2025 outage, Starlink's overall record remains strong. For years, it's delivered reliable, high-speed internet to underserved areas, outperforming traditional satellite providers. The constellation's design, with thousands of satellites in low Earth orbit, offers built-in redundancy. If one satellite fails, others pick up the slack, making the system robust against most disruptions. The July outage was unique, a central software failure, not a hardware issue. SpaceX's ongoing upgrades and proactive maintenance have kept the network resilient. The incident was a rare exception, not the rule, and prompted further improvements. For most users, Starlink remains a lifeline, and the hope is that it will only get stronger. The Starlink outage of July 2025 was more than a technical glitch. It was a global lesson. It showed how satellite internet has become a vital utility, not just a luxury. The event exposed the risks of relying on a single provider and the need for backup systems. SpaceX's transparent response set a standard for corporate accountability in crisis. The outage reminded us that even cutting-edge technology is vulnerable, and that resilience requires constant vigilance. As SpaceX works to strengthen Starlink, the world is reminded to appreciate the invisible symphony above our heads. The brief silence reinforced the value of connection and the marvel of global internet from space. Each failure, if met with honesty and improvement, pushes us toward a more reliable digital future.